Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Fashano here at Keiser University, and welcome to Lead the Way podcast. Every episode, we invite business and community leaders to come in to our studio and share with us their journey and relevant leadership insights. Our hope today is that you'll be able to walk away with one or two nuggets that you can apply to your daily leadership. Today, we are very honored to have as our guest Janice Zollo-Ridenour. Janice, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Janice is the owner of Zollo Associates, a bookkeeping business. And we're going to learn more about how she got started, her journey, a little bit more about Janice. And I'd like you to start with that. Let's get right at it right now, Janice, if you don't mind. If you could give us a little bit of your background, how you started the business, how long you've been in the business.
Sure. It was actually quite by accident, to be honest with you. When I was in high school, I was in the Academy of Finance, which at the time was a pilot program. It's now, a national merit program. And I was always interested in finance. And my family owned an air conditioning and refrigeration company here. So it was just very natural for me to become the bookkeeper for our family business. But this was long before there was QuickBooks, which is very popular now. And we were still using ledger paper. QuickBooks came out, and we got a computer. And so being the youngest, I was tasked to go automated. And I loaded QuickBooks, and we put our bookkeeping on QuickBooks, which was very limited at the time. Our CPA had other businesses in the area also wanting to do that and needed help, and he knew I was pretty good at it. So he asked if after work I would go help them. And I did, and that's really when it started. It just took on a life of its own after that. I primarily started with just teaching QuickBooks and setting companies up to use it. And over time, the bookkeeping just kind of fell into place to the point that I was able to leave my family's business and start my own.
So now, that's good background. How many years ago was that, and how many years have you been in business?
You're dating me now.
Well,
that was 29 years ago.
Wow. Wow. 29 years is really, that's quite a statement.
Yeah.
And that's great. So you're married, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Children?
Yep, I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
1 granddaughter, another grandbaby on the way. And both of my daughters are nurses. One lives in Orlando, one lives here in Palm Beach County. My husband's a retired police officer for Fort Lauderdale, where I was born and raised, by the way, so I'm Florida native. Well,
that's great, and that's helpful background for our audience. I want to move in right now into leadership and into business. I started a business many, many years ago, and you did 29 years ago. And I'm sure you had, as all of us that have started businesses, early on challenges.
Mm-hmm.
There might be somebody out there in our audience who currently is thinking about starting a business, or maybe has already started a business. And you're going to be facing challenges. And Janice, I'd like you to share with the audience some of the challenges that you faced early on and how you overcame them.
I didn't know what I know now back then, right? So I wasn't as smart as I am today. And when something would come up that I was unaware of, I educated myself on that issue, whatever it is, because here I am helping other businesses with their books, and I'm not an expert in service or manufacturing or whatever they do. So I would try to educate myself in their industry so that I could better help understand what they needed from me. I would meet with their accountants, to go over what they are expecting. So I was always trying to put myself in my client's shoes so that I could better serve them. And I've learned a lot through that. But also, growth and scaling is very difficult. It still is. It's still a challenge for me today. And, when you're just in charge of yourself, that's easy to maintain. But when you start bringing in other people, like employees, who you absolutely need in order to grow, you can't do it all by yourself, that was also quite challenging. And I wasn't afraid to hire professional help to help me navigate that. Yeah, it cost me a little bit of money up front, but I think it saved me a lot of time and money in the end. By hiring people that really know that are experts in their field that I needed.
That was really great. And I love the idea about team, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. Matter of fact, that's really a good, let's transition to that right now. I think what you said there at the end is you can't do it alone. So team building is important, obviously. What is important about team building to you? Two-part question here. What's important about team building to you? And what is the criteria? What's the process? What do you look for when you select a team member?
By nature, I'm an educator, right?
Mhm,
So
yes.
I love to teach. So I like to empower my my employees, and sometimes, I can't find a qualified candidate, right, when I'm hiring. So I find if they have all the morals I'm looking for, a good person, those things you can't teach, I can teach them the skills that they need to do their job. So I'm fortunate in that respect that I can create my workforce. So a lot of times I'll have employees that have been with me now for 10 years or more. They didn't know very much when they started with me, and they're very, very good at their job now. But I invest in them. I invest in them for two reasons. One, someone took the time to invest in me. Yeah, I had mentors when I was younger, and it really made a difference in my life. So I take time to invest in my employees, not only for them and empower them, but also to give a good product, to my clients, right? It's a two-way street. I want quality service, being put out there. We are a referral-based business, no advertising. So, that happens from doing good work, and that comes from my staff.
So selection is important to you, and I think what I heard you say is you can teach them, you can train them the skills that they need, give them the knowledge that they need, but you can't teach character.
No.
You can't teach integrity, and they need to bring that to the table.
Yes.
That's really, really good. It's a good reminder for all of us as leaders that don't compromise on that. Stick to your values, which is really, really great. You mentioned something there about your clients. And in business, as you know, I'll just remind the audience, we really have two types of clients, internal and external. The external are the people that acquire our products, our services, but the internal are our employees. They are our clients, and you talked about that, how you take care of them, you take care of your employees through giving them the skills, the knowledge that they need, equip them, and they'll take care of your clients, which is so good. So that brings up a question that I want to ask you, Janice. How do you build trust in those two types of clients you have, your employees and your clients? How do you build trust?
I keep my promises to my employees, okay? So if they do something that's wrong by accident, I tell them, please come to me, tell me what happened so that we can correct it before, it gets worse. And you won't get in any trouble, but I am going to give them the speech as to why they shouldn't have done it. But, so they trust me in the fact that they believe what I'm telling them is true, and that I'm always going to guide them in the right direction, as well as protect our clients, right? Our client information is very important. I'm also, with regards to our clients and my employees, I'm in the trenches with them. I'm in there working the same as they are on these files with them, with the clients. I don't expect anyone to do anything I wouldn't do myself, so I'm always got my hands in it some way, so that the clients know, they trust that I'm watching, that there's eyes, and we have account managers. It's not just me. I'm just, we're talking about me, but I have account managers that they deal with also, but they have their team. We approach everything as a team. So the clients know that they have a team. We treat each other as team members and teammates, and together we're stronger that way. And the clients know that too. They feel it.
Your demonstration about, I think you used the term, getting into the trenches. That's leadership by example. You're not just sitting, talking. You're actually walking the talk. But that's so important in building trust because you're authentic, you're real, you're open, you're honest. And that means a great deal to both the customers, clients, and the employees when they see that. I know I made a lot of mistakes. And in reflection, a lot of them were lessons learned. I'm sure that I'm not alone in that. You must have had some lessons over your years of business. If you could identify one biggest lesson that you've learned in building your business, that might help somebody else out there who is right in the middle of this process right now. Could you share that with us? Can you think of one?
Oh, yeah.
That comes to mind? Whoa, oh,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yes. You're never too big to fall. Yes. I mean, you really aren't. As soon as you get comfortable, it feels like the shoe will drop somewhere, and that is part of growth, right? Because if you're not uncomfortable at times, then I really don't feel like you're really growing. You're just kind of stuck in one spot. But if it's not managed properly, or if you take it for granted, it could easily be taken from you, and it quicker than you think sometimes. So you have to be diligent. You have to be looking. You have to be paying attention constantly at every aspect of your business, your employees, your finances, as a business owner, including your home life, because the business affects your home life. It does. Your whole life is in your business, funding your home life, right? So you really have to balance that. And as the owner, sometimes we have the worst job, right? We don't have time off sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to stay diligent and paying attention and being on top of everything.
That's so good and so true. I can attest to that myself with my experience, and in work I'm doing now with coaching other people, other executives. I found that to be true. Well, I'll just summarize: be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Because we need to embrace, I believe, the uncertainty. That's what leaders do. They embrace the uncertainty. We are change agents. There is no status quo in leadership. And we're hoping that our audience would grab that. Maybe that's a nugget that you can take away today. You're never too big to fall. I love that. That's really great. In the 29 years, I'm sure you've had some conflicts, some disagreements with team, perhaps some issues with clients. Do you have a process that you could share with our audience about how you go about handling and dealing with conflicts when they're presented to you?
Well, there's always three sides to every story, right? So, someone's point of view of what happened may not be what the other person's point of view is of what happened. So what I try to do is listen very carefully to everybody's point of view if something happens, which thankfully doesn't happen very often in my business. But yes, it does happen, but mostly between employees more so than clients, I would say. And a lot of times, there's things going on in people's lives that they're internalizing that they don't even realize that they are sometimes, lashing out. They don't even realize that they're doing it. And a lot of times, when we get down to talking it out, it's just in a misunderstanding of some kind, or someone used a term that they used thought differently. It's communication sometimes, mostly. But if there is not a resolution and we agree to disagree, okay, and sometimes that's what you have to do is agree to disagree, then really it comes down to me having to say, okay, well, this is what I would like to see happening going forward. I mean, I don't like to be the boss, but sometimes you have to be the boss and solve the issue for them. But mostly, I find it lack of communication is what causes some of these difficulties between people.
The internal conflicts within people.
Yeah.
I think as a leader, what I heard you say, which is so powerful, I want to remind everybody of that. Listening. Don't come in with your magic wand and think you're going to fix everything. Listen.
Not only that, but don't deny either. Because even if a client calls, because they don't see what we do, right? They're out there working and, we're in our office working.
Yes.
I don't know people. Let's say I can't or no, or they immediately deny. We never do that. I don't like it, so I don't have anyone in my office do it. If a client calls and says, I didn't tell you this or that, thank goodness for emails, we'll say, please so sorry. Please send me the email. I don't have it. I want to let my IT company know that I didn't get it. Like, I try to resolve it in a way that, then they realize, well, geez, I thought I sent it to you. I guess I didn't. And I mean, I'm not going to just say, no, you didn't. I don't like that. That's not, to me, that's just putting up a wall. And we don't.
That's good advice.
Yeah, we don't put up, listen, because there might be more to the story. They may have thought they did it or intended to do it, and they didn't do it. Or same with us. We may have thought we did something and we didn't, we dropped the ball. We're human beings, right? So, yeah, it's all about communicating and talking it through to find out all the details before you make a decision.
I'm reading between the lines here, but I think when there's a conflict, you just don't let that slide. You get at it right away, and that's so important.
Yeah.
That's very, very important that the audience hears that and embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go away, and even though you didn't mention that, but I know that you act on it right away.
Well, yeah, because mistakes are going to happen.
Right.
It's how you handle them that really defines you.
All right. So, how does Janice Ridenour stay motivated? Because you clearly are motivated. I can understand why people would work with Janice. You have an attraction power to you. You are a great leader. You influence people. You make a difference in people's lives. You're a teacher. All of those things. But you need to stay motivated. Well, and how do you do that?
Yeah, I genuinely like helping people. I mean, I genuinely like that. I know how hard it is to make the decision to start a business, run the business, what that does for you, your family, your friends, your social life. And if someone's going to take the time and the money to do that, I would like to help them maybe skip some of the steps that I had to take. I genuinely want to help them, do better, because we need people like that in the world right now, like to that want to excel and do better. And it goes with my clients, goes with my employees. Like, I enjoy and nurturing people and empowering them to come into their own, make their own decisions, do better with their business. When they do better, it's like I feel like I've succeeded. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, when they're doing well, it makes me feel like I did my job right, and that makes me feel good. It's like raising,
That's
kids.
the teacher in you.
I guess.
The motivation comes from within.
Yeah.
And we see the passion there in you, and I'm sure that comes out in the workplace. All right, we need to wrap up here. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, but I do have one closing question. I'm sure there's someone out in the audience that would like to hear this, and here's my question. What advice would you give to a younger Janice that might be out there? Younger, I don't necessarily mean student. Could be a graduate student, could be a student watching the podcast, could be somebody just starting their business. What advice would you give that younger Janice?
There are going to be times where you're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But this is so hard. This is really difficult. I could just be doing something completely different and not have all this stress and worry about, this or that. And I would tell that person to stay the course. Don't let it defeat you. Don't let it overcome you. We all have anxiety about different things. I certainly still do. Believe in yourself that you will overcome them. And I think for a long time, I stayed dormant for like many years, right? I mean, created a nice job for myself in the very beginning. I didn't have any employees. I was very comfortable there. But I realized I was never going to be any bigger than that. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to have started expanding sooner, than I did. But again, I was afraid. I had anxiety, and I was unsure if I could do that by myself. But yeah, believe in yourself that you can do it, and just take your time, but do it.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Janice, thank you so much for giving us your time today. So I want to say goodbye for now, but Janice, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I want to say goodbye to our Lead the Way audience. Thank you so much, and we look forward to next time for Lead the Way podcast from Keiser University. Bye for now.